Hey, hello. Been a little while since I've done any videos, and lots of life events happening for me here in the last several weeks to month. But so now I'm back, and I want to talk to you about super drinks. And predominantly, the one I want to talk about most is the sleep aid super drink. So there are lots of things commercially available. These types of teas, sleepy time teas, and they have lots of ingredients like chamomile, lemongrass, and things of that nature that are healthy and that do implement a good rested state. But we're going to make them better, and here's how we're going to make them better. This is raw, unfiltered honey, and this is what raw, unfiltered honey looks like. Okay, what makes it good and what makes it have the best effects is that all the stuff that makes honey good is really this. It's talking about this. It has all the enzymes, it has all the nutrients, it has all the healthy ingredients that make honey a functional whole food. And so this type of honey, if you can find it, I found mine on Amazon, is an excellent thing to do. So we're going to take our tea at night, maybe 20 minutes before bed. You let your tea bag steep for about 5 or 6 minutes, and then after that you're going to add your raw honey, about a tablespoon of raw honey, and I get something that's pretty consistent in terms of measurement. And then the other thing we're going to add is this. This is apple cider vinegar, and you've probably heard about apple cider vinegar, and people have been using apple cider vinegar for a long time for all manner of health things. And here's the thing. It actually works. It does increase insulin sensitivity. It helps with people who are diabetic. And one of the other things it does, which is especially good for this population, people who have chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, is that it helps to break up some of the bad things that might be set up in your gut, because the acetic acid in apple cider vinegar breaks up biofilms. So biofilm is something that if you've experienced like a film on your teeth, if you haven't brushed or you missed something, whatever, you have like a slimy type of film, and that film is very resistant to just basic anything just going on it. But the acetic acid in apple cider vinegar is very effective at wiping out biofilms that might be bad. And then so this is a topic of conversation because many, in fact most of the patients who have chronic fatigue or fibromyalgia have what's called small intestine bacterial overgrowth. And one of the components of that is a biofilm, which is basically a combination of mucopolysaccharides, proteins, and bacteria and other organisms that have created a film. It's like, imagine like, the gristle, the very slippery type stuff on your teeth. This same thing can occur in your gut, and it's very challenging to address. And the simple fact of just taking antibiotics or things is not what we want to do, because we don't want to wipe out all the good organisms as well. So apple cider vinegar has some probiotics in and of its own, and then we have the natural honey. And so we're going to add 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, 1 tablespoon of the raw honey, and we're going to put that into our tea that has steeped for about 20 minutes. Not 20 minutes, 5 minutes. And then we're going to drink that about 20 minutes before bed. That is going to create a very stable environment for sleep. First, you're going to provide some nutrition in terms of the honey, and then the vinegar has a very nice way, an insulin sensitizing way, and so you're going to get a nice even blood sugar distribution over the course of the night. Some people will wake up or not fall asleep as readily because their blood sugar state is fluctuating a lot, and the brain doesn't really like that. The brain needs consistent energy. So the interesting thing about honey is that honey is a high fructose food, and then so you might associate that with bad things, but fructose is a good sugar, provided it's in the right form, and this has all the right ingredients that go with it. It's like, eating something like an apple, or as opposed to drinking a Gatorade. Gatorade may be rich in fructose, but it has none of the sensitizing agents and none of the cofactors and co-nutrients that the apple has, and so it's processed completely different. Now, if you don't order this on Amazon or somewhere where you can get it, like in the grocery store, I think I saw this in GNC too, as well as the Bragg's apple cider vinegar. I bought this from a local honey producer yesterday, and I just there was a fair, and I go and I like to support the local businesses as well, so I just got to talking to him, and he has 20 hives, and this is filtered honey. So the big difference is, you'll see the consistency and the color, and I talked to him about getting some unfiltered honey from him as well, because that's the best that you can get. Locally produced is usually the best, because it has the things that are growing in your area, and the flowers, the vegetation, and things that the bees have interacted with. And so if you could get a local unfiltered, that would be the best you could do. So this is the nighttime, sleepy time. I call this sleep-inducing super drink. Now, if you don't want this at nighttime, so now we're going to make a daytime one. So same ingredients: apple cider vinegar, cinnamon, honey, and one of these guys. So what this does is this sets up your day in a positive way. Nutrients and enzymes and all the other things. The pure lemon itself is probably the best way to go. There are concentrates, and I have some, and I use them sometimes. But, juicing a lemon is, that juice is going to be pure, and it's going to be in its highest state of effectiveness and health. So that's probably the best way. A couple little things that, stuff to keep around. Avocados for the oils and for the nutrients. Excellent forms of health. Here's some of the kombucha that I've been making, and this is a berry-based kombucha, and this is in its second ferment, so I let the first one sit for a while, and then I bottled. And then this is some of my fermented vegetables and sweet potatoes for my sugar fix, and honey for my sugar fix. So if I talk to people all the time and say, I'm craving something sweet, make a sweet potato, put some cinnamon on it, and if it's not sweet enough, get some stevia and put that on there, and it's sweet. It is very sweet, and not to mention, you're getting lots of good nutrients from the combination of those things, so you're not just consuming meaningless calories. What we're going to talk about in the next couple of videos, I'm going to talk about the sleep cycle in greater detail, and in that I'm going to talk about how your body has a timer that's built into your brain, and it's not just melatonin, it's not just your pineal gland. There's another structure in your brain, and it keeps time. In addition, there are markers on your genes called Peer 1, Peer 2 markers that are time-based. So our day and night cycles, if we get a mismatch, we get a circadian mismatch problem, then our whole body's our whole body physiology can begin to change. And you can begin to do things like accumulate more body fat, even with the same amount of carbohydrate, same amount of foods, same amount of exercise, just because your Peer 1, Peer 2 genes and your circadian mismatch is thrown off. This is becoming epidemic in society because we're bombarded with light, unnatural light at times of the day and night that we shouldn't be experiencing them. So I'm going to talk about that in greater detail. One of the other things I'm going to talk about too is the gut biome. The gut biome and the importance of the gut biome can't be underestimated. I mean, there's just so much evidence. The more we learn about it, the more significant it becomes. It is a factor in every chronic disease state, every single one. So if you have fibromyalgia, you have chronic fatigue, you have rheumatoid arthritis, you have multiple sclerosis, it is systematic in all of those things. So one of the things I did I reached out to a company called Biome, and Biome is really at the cutting edge of analyzing the gut biome. So what it does is you take a sample, you use a kit at home, and you send it in, and they tell you what's living there. And once you know that, then you can really plot a course to make course corrections, because there are definitely organisms you want to see there that have in high quantity, and there are some you do not want to see there in any real quantity. But it's a balance. What people don't understand, and even probably what most doctors don't understand, is that biome, when you feed it, so if I feed it something like a sweet potato, it takes some of those things that my body won't process, and it processes them and delivers to me nutrients. It also delivers to me short-chain fatty acids. It delivers to me folates. It delivers neurotransmitters. So there's a pathway I'm going to talk about that is distinctive to plants and bacteria, but not to humans. But guess what? All in your GI tract, there's this gut biome, and this pathway is delivering nutrients to you if it's functional. And if it's not functional, guess what? You might have low neurotransmitter levels. Why is that important? Because people have depression and they're taking medications to raise their serotonin level, but it could be that where 95% of the serotonin lives, which is in your guts, where 95% of that lives is not getting produced properly. So you're taking a medication to solve a gut problem. Guess what? It's not going to work. And so we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about ways that we can identify and then optimize our gut so that we can regain our health and be optimally healthy. Also, too, when we talk about the gut, we're going to make some dietary suggestions. And one of those is just watching what goes into your body in terms of processed foods and things like pesticides, which we don't really talk about, but are really, really heavy in our food chain now, especially with grains. So if you follow any of the stuff that's going on with grains and gluten and all of that, part of the problem is also this compound called glyphosate, and it interrupts one of the pathways that bacteria and plants have to produce some of those aromatic amino acids like tyrosine and tryptophan, and these are huge for human health. So it's not just the gluten, perhaps maybe for some people, but it's also these compounds that are in our wheat that we're eating that are poisoning us. So I know this is a kind of a ranging long video, so I'm just going to recap real quick. Our sleepy time: raw unfiltered honey, apple cider vinegar, and tea. So 5 minutes, steep the tea, 2 tablespoons, 1 tablespoon, drink it 20 minutes before bed, and you're going to sleep. And you're going to sleep better than you would believe. And this isn't like a pharmaceutical sleep. This is inducing you into a real deep sleep, a restorative sleep cycle, because it's going to stabilize blood sugar in your brain and your nervous system, and that's going to enable your brain to rebuild and do what it's supposed to do. A daytime super drink with the same 2 caps right here. We're going to add a little cinnamon. Cinnamon is great for blood sugar levels. And then we're going to take a lemon and we're going to mix that up. Again, 2 tablespoons, 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, and a good amount. Mix it up real good. The cinnamon doesn't mix real good, so you got to really mix it. Get one of those little finger blender things that I think I've used in other videos, but let me show it to you. One of these little dudes. Works really good. $5 or $6 on Amazon. I use it sometimes for coffee mixes or these types of mixes, and or you could use a shaker bottle, whatever you want. But they work really well. So some good super drinks. This is great for breaking up biofilms like we talked about. This has all the enzymes, all the nutrients. It's a pure whole food. An excellent thing to have around your house. Never goes bad, by the way. You could sit it in your shelf for, forever, and it won't go bad. And then some good quality cinnamon. I recommend you look for organic stuff. And then these guys have lots and lots of health benefits as well. And so that's it for today. I'll be back with some new content, new videos. Any questions, feel free to leave them here. As always, like and share, and invite others to take in the video, invite others to ask questions, invite others to the site. I want to help everybody who has chronic health problems, and I want to do it with simple things that you can do for yourself, that you don't need to go to a doctor. You don't need to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on medications that aren't helping you and aren't making you healthier. I want to empower you to get as healthy as you can get, and then that level of health that you build will overcome sickness. You don't treat sickness, you create health. Health will overcome sickness. That's it. Thank you. Have a great day. Take care. God bless.